Welcome to the first episode of Suffering to Superb with Matt Lambeau. In this podcast, we use a series of simple, logical concepts to hopefully take the human mind from suffering to superb. Simple stuff, but can it be done? Let's ask a trained psychotherapist. I am truly honored and privileged to have my first guest. She is one of my favorite people on planet Earth. Thus, I call her the lovable Lucinda Lidstone. Lucinda has a master's degree in transpersonal psychotherapy and has been in private practice for many years. She founded the ASC Clinic to support young people and their families in the South Essex area, and it has done just that for years. Lucinda has worked as a spiritual consultant and energy medicine practitioner since 1992. She's also trained in hypnotherapy back in 2005. She is the host of the Skit podcast, which is a blend of psychology, spirituality, and philosophy. She's a regular guest on the topical morning show Rise. And more recently, I've discovered something new with Lucinda called the sustenance of the soul, which I'm excited to ask her about. Please welcome my good friend, the lovable Lucinda Lidstone.
Hello, my darling.
How was that?
That's perfect.
That doesn't even go to the part that I believe is most important, and that is if I look at your job description, it's really that of an angel. It is.
I'm not sure some people would agree with you.
Oh, I'm sure they would. Now, what I'd like to do, first of all, is what's the latest, greatest in your world? And then I'd really like to share my screen and maybe sneak through some of your projects to learn a little bit more what you're up to. Okay, so what's the latest, greatest in your world? How's the boys?
They're lovely. And Gareth said to say hello to you.
Hello to him. Is he ready to be prime minister yet?
Not yet.
Not yet?
I don't think that's really going to help. Yeah, the latest greatest for me, selfishly, is that my studio down the bottom of the garden, my new studio, all I need to do now is put the flooring down and then I'm good to go. And I can't wait to get in there.
Yes, I can't wait to see it. What's the ETA on that?
I reckon a couple of weeks and I'll be up and running.
Beautiful. So what else is going on your side of the world? What's the latest on the Rise program and those endeavors?
Illegal immigration is a massive thing that people are talking about. And also, I don't know if it's happening in your country, but there's the latest scaremongering is that the government are going to suddenly send you an alert, a test alert for danger on your smartphone. And there is a way to turn that off. But apparently in May, there's going to be lots of more fear mongering about the environment, potential nuclear attack, etc., just to crank up the anxiety for everybody. So that's what's really being spoken about on Rise.
Right. And is the program still kind of labeled as like radical, to where you're worried? In other words, you have free speech issues where people are still attacking you in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, Rise is definitely part of the alternative media. It's getting really, really well known. And on that channel, on brand YouTube, you can say anything that you like. There's absolutely no censorship at all on there. So that's great. So we can put up anything that you and I discuss on there.
Beautiful.
Which otherwise might get taken down off of YouTube, etc.
Right. Is brand new YouTube rocking and rolling back on track, or are they still running into a few issues?
It's all restored, and doing well. Moving from
beautiful.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So if you don't object, I would like to share my screen real quick.
Yeah.
If that's cool. All right. Let me just see here, though. I want to get right here. Okay. There we go. All right. Okay. Can you see that?
I can. What have you
Okay,
been doing? You've been stalking me.
I have. Look at this. Look at this. There's you. There's you. Yes. Now, yeah, so I did a Google search. All right. And
God.
um is this the latest, right?
Well, what this is, so how to explain? So in my psychotherapy career, I've always
Mm-hmm.
been quite reluctant to talk about my spirituality or that side of things. And I think my whole career has been about trying to blend the sort of very logical side with the spiritual side. And so a few years ago, I set up this website really for my private practice, for people that want to that actively explore their spirituality and want to bring that into therapy. So I wrote the whole site, but really it was more me standing up and being counted, really, and putting out there in the world that, hey, I've got this whole other side to me that I think is of great influence in my life and importance in my life. And so really that's what it was about, to create the website.
Okay, so in creating the website, when people, so basically you're saying, listen, I've got some answers here, especially for people in need, right? And by coming to this website, you can have access to those answers.
I don't like to say that I've got answers, because that's not really what psychotherapy is about. Rather, this is a space where you can come if you have these spiritual questions, if you have these spiritual urges within you, if you acknowledge spirituality in whatever way, whether it's standard religion or in whatever way, then I am a person that can talk to you about that and have those discussions, and anything is on the table, nothing is taboo.
Right. So a portal to where somebody can come in times of need. Because would you say that the wisdom you provide is universal? That the wisdom you provide doesn't matter what religion you're from, doesn't matter your age. It's something that all human beings can use.
Yeah, I would hope so. My goodness, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it's
Yeah, it's
again,
trying
we
to
all
find
could.
that. It's trying to find the common elements. I think it's called perennial philosophy, and that means that it's parts of all standard religious dogma, the core parts that seem to agree no matter what the doctrine.
I agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
And so now again, you know that recently I've been driving Uber.
Yes, that's right. You told me.
Yes. And so that's important again, because there's a lot of perceptions in terms of what an Uber driver might be. But in my case, it was a like a rolling confessional,
Yes,
or a rolling, I felt like a cop, but without the danger.
yeah.
And just as late as yesterday, I dropped one gal off. She's in her late 20s, two kids, and a heroin addict,
Oh gosh.
So I dropped her off at her meeting. Then at least two of my riders were Muslims that were fasting.
Yes, because it's
Yes,
Ramadan.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and it's so cool. Again, I was raised a Catholic, and here I've got a dedicated Muslim in the back of my car, and we have 99.9% of everything in common. We all
Yes.
want the exact same thing. The
Yeah.
only thing that's different is we both came through different indoctrinations, which included dogma.
Yes.
Right. So the whole Uber thing just put me on this path that says, how can we create a scenario? We all need the same thing. We all need and want the same thing for the most part. We just have a multitude of ways of getting it. And the most frustrating part is nobody really knows what the next step is.
No.
We
No.
have this in common, like the things you just rattled off in terms of the dangers within, in terms of some of the government ideologies, and those, everybody understands that, you know. And so my whole thing has just been, I'm just perplexed, from my family members to my closest friends to you. It's just all but impossible to get people to unite over their own best interest.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of on this pilgrimage to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's where you come in. Because again, what you are saying, everybody needs, you right. I mean, you're basically saying, listen, there are so many aspects of this world that I've studied, from spiritual healing to medicine to all these things. And it works. It works. We just now, the thing is what I understood is everybody wants it, but timing is of the essence. In other words, you couldn't push your philosophy on somebody at the wrong time.
No, that's exactly right.
Right. Except that same person will come back when the timing's right on their hands and knees begging for it. Right. So that's one of the little idiosyncrasies that I find perplexing, that we all want the same thing, but we only want it at a certain time.
Well, you have to be ready to hear. You have to be open. And I
Right.
just want to say a little bit about you being an Uber driver, because I just think, isn't that interesting that we've had so many conversations and you've shared so often your frustration of wanting to be able to reach people and get your message out there. And then God chose to give you a set of circumstances where there you are driving and you're having all these really interesting conversations and you're connecting with people in that short time that you're driving them. So I just think that's really interesting how that's happened.
Well, I appreciate that. Now, let me take that a step further. I kid you not, if you go in to look at my Uber marks, my first 300 reviews, I got 297 5 stars.
Oh my God, of course you did.
But it's easy because when they get in there, it's not what they're expecting. Okay. The last Uber ride I gave was last night. And again, I'm doing it for a multitude of reasons, financial not being the main one. I mean, it's certainly not a revenue stream. But the last one, I picked up two guys where their flights were canceled. And so they decided to go see a Minnesota Wild game. So I picked them after the Wild game and took them back to their hotel. But the whole time we had the tunes blaring, man. We were jamming. Just a
Yeah.
rock and roll show. Yeah, yeah. So, but you're right. For somebody that's intrigued like me, again, my favorite part about alcohol treatment was the therapy and listening to the stories.
Yes.
I mean, God is filled with people who've been in prison and their lives are upside down and it's just scorched earth.
Yeah.
So same thing with the Uber cab.
Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah. Now it's also frustrating because the world is sliding into the abyss slowly.
Yeah.
Everybody in the Uber cab recognizes that. They all want it to stop, but nobody knows what the next step is.
Yeah.
And so, where you talked about the sustenance of the soul and where people can come there at times of need, okay, to me, that is the next step that says, okay, where do we unite in times of need? There's a multitude of places we can go, but is there a spot that is readily available and it has the language that's more universal? Like, in other words, you could take an AA meeting. You're not going to go to an AA meeting. You don't need the language, right? Go to a certain church. You don't need that church. They're preaching to the choir. You already believe them.
Yeah.
Okay. But a spot where they can go for the information you can provide. Get it? And that's where I would love to, again, I believe we can put the entire world into that portal of yours.
Do
One
I want
person
the
at a time.
responsibility of the entire world?
Huh?
I don't want the responsibility of the entire world.
No, I know, but you won't have to because we're bringing them in. But in that same portal, you're not alone. We're all in there.
Yes,
If you're
absolutely
not
right.
there that day, somebody else will be.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you mind if I share my screen and show you how I was trying to accomplish something like that?
Yeah, go for it, please.
You okay with that? All
Yeah,
right.
of
Let me share
course.
my screen real quick here. All right. Oh, here we go. Let me go down here. We screwed it up. These things never go when they're live, right? That was going to be okay. Can you see that, Lucinda?
I can
All
indeed.
right. Now, again, this isn't driving away from your agenda. This is how I want to send traffic to your site.
Okay.
Okay. You're the answer on the other side of this thing. Make sense?
Yeah,
I can't see you anymore. Can you see me?
I can see you, my darling.
Oh, you can. All right. Well, anyway, so this is just a concept that's saying, hey, can we take 3 simple steps, global steps? Okay. And again, I have the spinning earth because I want you and I to have this conversation up above the planet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, cool. So we're saying 3 simple concepts. And by the way, I've switched it over to the treeoftruth.org. Okay, concept number 1, Lucinda. Can we unite in love? Okay, that's a yes or no? Do you think we can do it?
Of course, there's
Okay,
unity
and do you
in love.
believe it's
Yeah,
important?
of course I do. Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, again, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but there's you'd be surprised the opposition you might get to that. Okay, so let me read real quick. This concept is called the Great Awakening. It's a simple concept. All human beings need love, even the bad ones. Love is the underlying frequency of the universe, yet it reaches so few. Why? We're blanketed in darkness and must be rescued from the fear. Will you help us unite in love? You just said yes. All right, let's go to the next one. Unite in truth. Okay, will you unite in demanding common sense truth? Again, on this planet, as would be any other planet, our beliefs are created by those who control the narrative in the media. If the narrative is inaccurate or deceptive, our beliefs are inaccurate because we've been deceived. Will you unite in demanding common sense truth?
Yes, most
Beautiful.
definitely.
Man, you're my favorite customer. All right, number 3. Will you unite in what's morally right? Freedom. Okay, our world is at war because it is controlled by evil. Again, that's not a shot at any human being per se. It's just the way it works. Yep, it seems like the problem on just about any planet is those in control take the freedom from those they rule. And does it have to be that way? Will you unite for what's morally right?
Yes.
Beautiful. Okay. Hey, I told you 3 steps, but I lied. There's actually 4. Will you unite in prosperity? This is the big one because everybody I talk to, again, I'll have some friends that are hot to trot that Donald Trump is going to win this election and the whole world's going to go a different direction. The other people are saying Biden's in, which I believe you're not going to be able to change things with elections anymore. But all I know is that whole conversation to me seems to be a moot point. Right? I mean, will any of that matter? Do you see anything on the horizon that will stop this slide into the abyss?
It depends what day you ask me. Sometimes I'm positive and other days I'm not.
All right, well, give me your positive day.
Well, my positive day is that ultimately I think, as you're alluding to, that this is a great battle between good and evil, and I have to believe that good will win in the end. Whether that's in our lifetime, Matt, I don't know. And what terrible awfulness has to happen before good triumphs. I don't know the answer to that either.
Okay. Well, then I guess I agree wholeheartedly with you. None of us know. Okay. But I'm of the belief that if we can agree on a certain concept, okay, like for example, that last page that I didn't go into detail to was proposing, listen, a worldwide 2% maximum interest rate. Okay. Now, when I propose something like that, I've done the research and I know that that simple step will flip this entire planet upside down. It will bankrupt central banking. Okay. And so to me, that's I want to bring people in on that topic, because now we're talking about something that will make a size. I mean, again, if you had a 2% interest rate, that means anybody that has credit cards is not paying that money into the bank anymore. They just keep it. So it's not a wealth disparity. It's not a redistribution. Okay. I mean, the bottom line is in this world, the banks have all the money.
Yeah.
And the banks are the same people as the government and the churches. It all has to do with the money in the banks. Right? I mean, I might be wrong on that. Do you disagree with that premise?
No, I agree with you. I think the banks have
Okay,
way too much power.
right. Well, so, and if you look at central banking, okay, the bottom line is this, is I now owe central banks $50,000 for each of my girls that went to college.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that scenario, they said the bankers, which are also the tenured professors in the education system, they're the ones with all the money. They said, hey, Mr. Banker, give Olivia this 50,000, but don't give it to her. Just transfer it to the educational facility and Olivia will pay it. So it's just a digital transfer from the bank to the government, but my daughter's on the line for it now.
Yeah.
50 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. So again, it's one thing to borrow my daughter 50 grand. It's another thing to ask for that money back at 6% amortized.
Yeah.
Okay, they're destroying her. They're destroying her chances. And unless we stand in front of that with a simple concept, it's never going to change. Now, I invite the opposition to the plan. Yeah, 2% interest rates, you do that, inflation will go through the moon. Beautiful. Prove that to me. You are absolutely full of shit. We're being told that if we don't have high interest rates, our products will cost more. Inflation will, think about that. That's insane. That's the banks saying, if you don't pay us more of your money, we're going to raise the cost on your bread. It's insane. And so my premise is, can we unite in love? You said yes. Can we unite in truth to say, listen, George Orwell's right. This is all a scam. Can we unite in opposition to that? Because if you unite in opposition to that, you're going to create enemies. You're going to, you're going to have a case that says, I stand for this. And the fact that you are unwilling to educate yourself about it or to stand for this cause makes you by default an adversary. Okay, because ignorance is complicit. Okay, so again, my premise is, can I unite you in love? You said yes. Can I unite in truth? Okay, can we as a human being say we want to have an honest discussion about January 6th? We are not going to cater to the narrative. If you turn on Fox News or CNN or any broadcast, they're broadcasting a narrative about January 6th. Okay, and that is subject to human opinion, but we get that. We can rise above the indoctrination and the dogma, and we know that what they're saying about January 6th is not accurate. It's been proven with video to be wrong. And we have to force our way into that marketplace and fight for that narrative. And the only way to do that is to unite. Okay, so that's step 2, right? The next one was freedom. Okay, freedom. It's just a case where I know how you could neuter the government as well. The same way you can neuter the banks by, if we universally, again, this is the tipping point too. It isn't like the grant. If we get enough people that demand a 2% interest rate, that narrative gets forced to the forefront. And those that choose not to support it get exposed. It's as important to divide us as it is to unite us based on our ideologies, because we all have human bodies with smiles. But inside those human bodies are truly, truly diabolical people.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. If you had millions of dollars, think of Hollywood, okay? Millions are switching. Hollywood's filled with homeless, filled with drugs. How can anybody wake up and not want to do something about it? And here's what happens is, even these rich people that want to do something about it, they can't, because they've already given all their money to the banks. They don't have the money. Okay, now, do you want to humor me for just a second? When you think of bank, okay, let's say I'm a millionaire and you have nothing. Did I go, in a moral world, I should give you my money, some of it, right?
Mm.
Morality would say, I've got money, you don't, I should give you some. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Then now let's take it a step further. Well, I don't want to just give you your money. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you $100,000, but I want you to pay me back. Okay. Morality would be I got $1 million. I give you 100,000. You just keep it.
Yeah.
I'm going to share. Okay. But let's take it a step further. I actually want the money back. Okay. You're game with that, right?
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay. Now, to take it a step further, I'm not just going to want the money back. I want you to pay me 2% on it. Fair enough? Okay. So instead of doing that, where I use your money, you paying me 2%, I give you my money and you pay me back. Enter banking. They give you 0.007% on your money, and they take your money and charge a single mom 25% on her credit card.
Yeah.
Okay. So banking, the concept of banking is evil. It is.
Yes.
Now, not the people that are in there, the concept that says we're going to take, again, the rich are not greedy. The rich have given their money to the banks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my push is I feel like if we can unite on a couple of things, then have a simple plan with good. Time's running out there, my friend. All right, and you say what? Because I can know by this thing. You know what? Next time I do this, I got to put it on the shared, like whoever's talking isn't the one on the screen. So we're
Okay.
both on the screen.
Yeah. 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 Okay, so what I don't know anything at all about banks or finance really, other than just most basic ideas.
Mhm.
What I think is that people like Bill Gates, Elon Musk, I think it is obscene for one person to have so much money. I'm not equally, I don't think just giving people money necessarily helps them. And I think that if you're industrious and you work hard and you're motivated, you make a lot of effort, then that should be rewarded. I don't necessarily think that we should all have the same level of income.
Nope, I
Um,
agree.
but I do think that certain things like heat, food, shelter, I think all of those things should be given at minimal cost, absolute minimal cost, because I think they're basic human needs and rights.
All right,
And money shouldn't be made out of those things.
I agree. Okay, now the examples you gave, and I'm not sure how much time we have left, but Bill Gates, Elon Musk. Okay, again, we're saying those human beings have the money. That's really not an accurate thing. So the only money those human beings have is the money in their wallet. The rest they've given to the banks.
Yeah, but that comes with an awful lot of power, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does come with power, but they've given away that power. They really, I mean, it's now in the hands of the banks. It really is. I mean, if Elon Musk, now he could pull all of his money out of the banks and do something for the poor, that's different. But again, you can't lose it. And this is going to be my push is if you look at poverty in the cities, okay, again, it all has to do with the facts that the banks have taken everything. The government has taxed and taken all the money. Now there's all these tenured people and big fat salaries. I mean, the people who made the mess are building big homes and everybody else is. And it really, there's a million ways to solve the problem. That's the thing. None of those work unless we unite around something that's simple. And that simple concept should be we need to get the money from the banks and put it back in the hands of the people. And that can be done by a 2% cap. The moment you cap it, if you capped interest rates at 2%, the drug war would be over because everybody's got money. I don't need to sell drugs anymore. My mortgage payment went down, my car payments went down, my school payments went down, and all that happened is I kept the money instead of giving it to the bank. And you know what's going to happen to the banks? They're all going out of business. The beauty of that is they should. Every bank, notice all the biggest and nicest buildings in your town are banks. Yeah, those should all become secondhand stores. And so again, I know it sounds grandiose, but at the outset, I say, can you take the moment to consider three global concepts? All right, so I'll let you go with this. You are accurate 100% in terms of your concerns. Okay. But where I feel we can meet common ground is I believe that by uniting under these understandings, that saying, listen, there's a time and place where you can come back. And when you do come back, Lucinda will be there. She's going to be there at certain times, but in other words, they can come back. They have access to your information. You're part of this portal of love that I want to bring people into. Does that make sense? I'm not saying that
Yes.
I get to sell your services. I'm not saying that. I'm saying Lucinda has bought into this concept and taken the first step. So as we move forward, should this work out, yes, part of this, when you come in, this wisdom that you're going to need at certain times, the beauty is the wisdom of Lucinda Lidstone is part of that package. It's part of the value. That makes sense?
Yes, indeed.
All right. And then the next step is how I'm going to make you the psychotherapist of the world.
Oh God.
And the job will pay really good and it'll take you even less time than you need.
Wow.
All right. All right. Well, hey, we're going to get cut off. Guess what? I have not told you how much I absolutely love you. Huh?
Oh, I missed you, darling. Listen, let me ask you something.
Mhm.
Last time we spoke about Alex, you sent me an email from him that had really told you off.
Mhm.
Have you had any communication with him since?
Yeah, it's been mostly downhill.
Oh no, really?
No, it's good. It's, again, I would love someday for you to look at the communication. It's just a case where I'm trying to unite people on this stuff and it pushes people away. I feel like I put people not by, I have an absence of malice, but I feel like I push people away because I'm wanting them to join in something, even though it's in their best interest. There's a natural inclination that says, I don't want any part of it, man.
Yeah.
And so Alex is kind of doing his thing, and my push to use his information to start slapping people around or to do something with it, we just haven't been able to find that yet.
Yeah.
He's not into the fight I am.
No, and I think sometimes when you're a passionate person, and I've been like that in the past, and sometimes that can be misconstrued as though you're trying to hammer something home to somebody, and then it sets up a resistance, doesn't it? Even if they just relaxed and thought about it, as you say, we're all trying to do the same thing in our different ways, but it sets
Honestly,
up that sense of resistance.
yeah, and that was my last email that Alex seriously was saying I'm totally perplexed on how the natural human instinct is to compete
Yeah.
rather than cooperate. It blows my
Yeah.
mind. And
Yeah.
so that's the latest, greatest, but we shall overcome. I got nothing better to do with my day and see if we can't make this thing work, right? Because again, if you look at the original premise, when you first met me, I'm a researcher trying to take your information that Alex and everybody has already proven to make a difference in the world.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't care if people listen to me. I just want, by the time I die, my kids get to live in a better world than what it would be had I not tried.
Yeah. How are you finding your guests? Because you're having different people on now. So how are you finding people?
Well, they actually had, are we going to get cut off here?
Got a
Or,
couple of minutes.
oh, a couple minutes. Yeah. So they actually have a lot of services. Like, remember the last time I spoke with you too, your parting words of wisdom were go on other podcasts.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So get this. The only one, I've been on 4 other ones, and
Cool.
the only one that ever published it was Alex.
Oh, really?
Nobody publishes. I don't know what it is in the conversations like this. And so seriously, and I don't know, but not one person since Alex has ever published the interview with me, and I don't have an audience. So
Who
I don't.
have you been on with then?
Well, I'd have to go look at them.
Oh,
I'd have to refresh my memory. But again, not big players, but they're basically there's a bunch of podcast matching services. So all kinds of people that have their own podcasts are looking for guests. Yeah,
yeah.
and so far I've done that 4 times, and their shows, they keep posting other ones, but they didn't post mine. So that
How
tells
strange.
you that pushback.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
don't think, I honestly, when I went on there, you know me, I'm trying to find out what makes them tick, how they can fit into the equation, how I can bring people to it. But so the jury's still out. I don't know. I've never gotten anybody to take my
Did they
video and post
did they send you copies of the interviews?
it.
No, so you
No,
can't post them either.
no, they never produced it that I can see. It never got produced. So it was either the content in there, they didn't like me when all was said and done, or whatever it was. I don't know. But
Did you not
and
ask for feedback?
yeah, I'll reach out to them again, but I reached
Yeah.
out to all of them at one point and said, did you decide that wasn't worthy? I mean, and just kind of,
Yeah.
so anyways, that's peculiar. That's one of the obstacles. You know me though, I live with, listen, these are all by design. If it was easy,
Well,
you
yeah,
know, they would have done this years ago.
but you need to find out, because
I
it
will,
might,
I will,
yeah,
I
might be
will.
something you can
So,
do something about.
well, or again, I can go on the next one. But again, if you go on it and you don't have something like what I just proposed, you taking them to the site and showing them that, that's gonna, some people are gonna love it, other people are gonna go, get out of here, dude.
Yeah.
I don't want any part of it.
Yeah.